Hello and welcome to Up to Speed, ProAV's new show where we keep you up to date with the latest news in the world of video equipment. Now, it's been 2 years since Sony released the FS7, and since then it's gone on to be one of the most popular cameras in our industry, offering specs which were unheard of for the price 2 years ago, and still, to be honest, beat most of the competition in that price point. The camera was incredibly popular, so I'm sure it's a camera that many of you are familiar with. And now, Sony have given us an updated model, the FS7 II. So let's make our way through what's different. As a whole, it seems Sony's approach to the FS7 II has been to fix some of the niggling issues with the original FS7, rather than designing a whole new generation of camera. So if you've recently bought an FS7, you can rest easy, your new camera isn't completely obsolete after the announcement of this Mark II. However, if you have owned your FS7 for a while and you're very familiar with it, or you've been looking at buying the original FS7, this Mark II is definitely the better camera. My favourite addition to the FS7 II is the variable ND from the FS5. This was one of the biggest selling points of the FS5 and in my opinion is something that should be on every single camera. Having the ability to set the exact amount of ND you need for each shot completely changes the way you shoot outside, in the sun, in run and gun situations. You can get the exact look you want with your ISO and aperture, and then use the variable ND to control your exposure. It makes your life as a solo operator just so much easier, and it is a very welcome sight on the FS7 II. Another welcome addition is the new locking E-mount system. So normally with E-mount, you have to put your lens into the mount and then twist it to lock it into position. Same as other stills lens mounts like Canons and Nikons. Now with video lenses, that's not always ideal because bigger lenses have servo grips on the side and wider front elements. Plus you often have rails, a follow focus, all these other things which can get in the way of the lens and mean you can't actually twist it when you're changing lenses. So this lockable E-mount works in a similar fashion to the cinema standard PL mount. You hold your lens into position and then you rotate the lens mount to lock it rather than rotating the lens. Sony's version also has a little release catch on it as well for added security. This is not only more convenient when using large lenses, it's also safer as it should be a much stronger mount with a secure locking system, meaning there's less risk of the weight of your lens actually damaging your camera. Another change that's going to make a huge difference every day to owner operators is the amount of assignable buttons. The original FS7 had 6, the FS7 II has 10. This may seem like a small change, but when you use your camera every day in run and gun situations, having quick access to the features that you want is just so important. You really can never have enough assignable buttons. The grip arm was one of the highlight features of the original FS7. It showed that this was a camera designed for traditional shoulder-mounted solo operation, and people loved it. But what we didn't love was the actual arm itself, as to adjust its length you needed a screwdriver. It was one of those designs where we just couldn't figure out why Sony had designed it that way at all. Luckily, third-party manufacturers gave us some fantastic replacement arms with quick toolless adjustment, which were almost a must-buy with the FS7. Now, Sony seems to have come to their senses a little and given us a simple knob to adjust the arm. Why it wasn't there on the original, who knows? Now, let's take a look at that viewfinder. This was one of the weakest points of the original FS7. The screen itself was fine, but it was slightly clumsy to adjust and would occasionally twist and droop down, which was very frustrating. Sony have fixed this by changing to a square rod, meaning the horizons on the screen will always be in line with the main camera. Plus, they've made some changes to the eyepiece that's included. It still seems a bit longer than ideal, but it is easier to attach and detach. Plus, there's a completely new foldable LCD hood, which is something I can definitely see myself using. The only real change in internal video quality that I can see from Sony's announcement is support for BT 2020 color space. This future-proofs the camera for HDR workflows, so it's great Sony have added that. The rest of the recording specifications remain pretty much the same, but that's okay. The current FS7 is already a very solid performer after all. The last thing that caught my eye in the announcement is that Sony are claiming the FS7 II is dust and splash proof. They don't mention anything more than that, so I doubt that it fits into the IP66 certification, which tells you a device is dust and rainproof, so it probably can't handle being left out in the rain, especially here in the wet and dull UK. But it would be interesting to see just how much rain it can take before you get issues. Hopefully Sony release details as to the IP certification the camera fits into, because if it does achieve an IP66 rating, that would be a massive deal. So that's about it for the main changes. We have a variable ND filter, a PL-style locking E-mount, a redesigned grip arm, a viewfinder ergonomics, 10 assignable buttons instead of 6, BT 2020 color space, and possibly dust and rain resistance. So what do you think? Have Sony made enough changes here to get you interested? Which new feature are you most pleased about? Let me know in the comment section below, and make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help us out. I'll be trying my best to get some hands-on time with this camera as soon as possible, so keep an eye on the channel if you're interested in that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.